Joanne Shook is here. She's with the Redwood Coast Village, and I call her the creator of this. Good afternoon and welcome to KHSU.
Hi, Katie.
Thanks for joining me. And you're celebrating now your 1-year anniversary of doing all of this, right?
Well, we just got started getting together and talking about the village concept back in November of last year. So it's amazing to think that the first speech that happened where people were just kind of saying, hey, this kind of thing exists, anybody interested in it, has just blossomed into like an organization, and many people are taking part in this. And I got to tell you, I'm really excited to have the kind of interest and commitment we're getting from people who want to see this thing get up off the ground.
And so you're still in the process of getting it up off the ground. It hasn't actually
started yet.
Yeah, formed yet, but you're having a celebration on Wednesday.
Right, and we're going to be able to announce some things about the fee structure.
Okay.
Which I can tell people now a little bit if you want.
That would be fine. You can clue us in.
I don't want to do a spoiler alert here, but the steering committee has gotten together and decided that we want to have a village that will have people who are hired to work there, not a bunch of people, maybe one staff member, and that will provide some continuity for things like volunteer coordination and scheduling and program direction. So with having a staff person, with having insurance and paying for the software and the office and the phone lines and everything like that, it ends up, we did a whole budget and we figured out for an individual, it would be $35 a month to be part of the village. Mm-hmm. And that works out to being $420 a year. Mm-hmm. That's a good Humboldt number, good strong Humboldt number there. and then for a two-person household, it would be $2.50 a month. That's how much is that? That's $52.50. I'm not good with numbers. $52.50, and that ends up being $630 a year for a two-person household. So
it's cheaper to go in on it as a two-person.
Right. Any way, shape, or form that you're a two-person household, you get a little discount because they figure part of what happens is that the services that are offered by a place like the village are offered by the members of the village to each other, and also from outside volunteers of all ages who come together and they do the kind of things that a good friend or neighbor would do that you could ask a good friend or neighbor to do. So things like rides to medical appointments or shopping or even to something like a social activity. That's one of the main things people ask villages for. The second big thing is help in the home, and we're calling it helping hands. So little minor fix-it jobs, occasional pet care. Let's say you're recovering from an operation or something like that, or some peer-to-peer tech help. So a lot of people have, a little trouble with running the computer devices, right, or the remote controls on their TV. There's all kinds of mysteries out there. So somebody who knows and can help you with that, that's a great thing to do.
So, Joanne, tell people again, those who just tuned in, we're talking about the Redwood Coast Village. And it's not an actual place, but it is a place. It's your own home.
Your own home.
Right.
Right. Yeah, the village concept was designed back in Beacon Hill, Boston in 2002. A group of neighbors didn't want to have to move out of their houses as it got a little bit harder to take care of the chores that you would have to take care of in a Boston winter. So they decided to join together and put in a little bit of money, hire somebody to help be the coordinator of volunteer services, and they got to stay in their own homes, in the communities they loved, around the people they loved. And, if you have to move out, maybe go stay with where your kids are or go into assisted living. Assisted living is really expensive.
Right.
And that's like $3,500 to $6,000 a month. A month. So, I look at the village. If I'm paying $420 a year, I could be in the village for 10 years for the cost of 1 month of assisted living.
See.
And if it keeps me out of assisted living for 1 month, I think it's a deal.
Right.
The other thing that's great about villages is people have connections with each other. So as everybody has some skills that can help somebody else. You know, I can do something you can't do, you can do something I can't do. But it helps bring people together, a sense of purpose. It gets people out of their houses, and it helps people trust that the help that's coming in because you're part of a community.
Now, the help isn't necessarily older, right? They might be younger since we're in a college town.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking of Arcata. Now, there's also Eureka and all the other vicinities.
And there are Girl
us.
Scouts everywhere. So, you know, you can have a Girl Scout troop through a college or high school kid to, older people who don't want to be part of the village yet, but they do want to be part of the volunteer effort.
Right.
A lot of people want the guarantee that the village will be there when they need it. So some people will join just as an insurance policy. A lot of people will volunteer to make sure the village is up and running. But it also, we're going to have anybody who's a volunteer as part of the social network and has maybe, access to some of the other things that the village offers. Well, when people have said to me, I've got a neighbor across the street. They're really great. They'll help me if I need some help. You don't have to be leaning out your front door wondering if your neighbor is going to, be available to take you up to the store or to go pick up some medicine or something. If your neighbor is a good neighbor and wants to help you, they can join as a volunteer. It doesn't cost them anything to do that, but they can see, and other neighbors in your area can see if you need help. I've talked to some churches where it's like, okay, maybe you have 6 members who might become members of the village, but everybody in the church can join the volunteer list, and then it's easy to see if that person needs assistance. We're talking about having this also not just in Arcata and McKinleyville, but we're really trying to hit all of Humboldt County. So this is going to be our first year starting, so it's really important to find out where people are at. But you would have different level of services, for instance, out in Blue Lake than you would have in Eureka. So the idea is it's kind of a hub and spoke idea that all the infrastructure is in one place, like the computers and the telephone lines. And as a member, you could call into that telephone line, and the person in the office would be operating the computer to see where the matches are for what you want to do.
So now, do you have the money? So many questions are in my brain.
Yeah.
So where's your hub going to be? How are you going to finance the hub? Is that the fee that people would pay that would finance all of that?
Down the line, that would be paid for by the fees, but we won't start taking membership fees until we're ready to offer services.
Okay.
So right now, we're actually asking people for seed money donations. We do have some money that's come in from some wonderful supporting sources. We've had St. Joseph's Care for the Poor, the McLean Foundation. We just got a grant from the Union Labor Health Foundation, which is fantastic. It was a grant to help us pay for subsidized memberships, scholarships, partial scholarships for lower income people. So if you look and you say, I can't afford $35 a month, but I could afford 25. We want to. We'll have a pocket of money that we can reach for, and then later on, once the village gets up and running, we're going to be trying to cash. That's the wrong word. It's to say on the radio. We're trying to put aside like 10% of membership fees and donations for funds for subsidized memberships.
Okay.
And what we're doing now is we're a program of the Area 1 Agency on Aging. They are our 501c3 fiscal sponsor. So when you make a donation to Redwood Coast Village, through Area 1 Agency on Aging, that's a tax deductible donation. That's seed money to help us do this startup stuff, and we definitely need money for the startup.
So when is it going to really start?
Well, we are estimating that it's going to start the second quarter of 2016, next year. So that's March, April, May, June, around that ballpark. But nobody wants to put the boat in the water if the boat's not ready to float.
No, you don't. Yeah.
So I know, though, I'm working with a 12-person steering committee. There's a lot of people who are working on this and really interested in seeing this thing go. We want to make sure we have a good, strong foundation to start this, and that we have enough people in areas that we can locate, and have some good success at the beginning. So, and I look at this, I'm approaching 60 rapidly, and I can see, I want to do this because I want to create the future I want to live in.
Right.
And, Humboldt County has got such a great tradition of self-reliance.
Yep.
We take care of our own, we take care of ourselves, we find our own ways. This is a real community project. This is grassroots, coming, from the ground up organization.
So that you can live in your own space, place, and do your own thing, but get the help when you need it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and help others. I mean, this is, it is pretty amazing that, people have lived rich and full lives. People know a lot. It's not like you stop knowing stuff just because you get past 65.
Right.
So, and a lot of the people, I talk to people who are 65, 70. They go, I don't like you using that word seniors. I don't feel like a senior. It's like, okay, you don't. But there are villages where you have the 90-year-old who is driving the 65-year-old. It's like,
that's
very
good.
It's a state of being, not your actual age. So
now if people want to find out more,
they can look on the redwoodcoastvillage.org website, and there's a lot of great information on there, and there is a place where you can click on the info at redwoodcoastvillage.org, and you will talk directly to the steering committee, which is fantastic. And we do need volunteers to help with the startup process. So there are plenty of jobs for that if people are interested in that kind of thing. And they can call Area 1 Agency on Aging and talk to them if they want to have a phone connection with somebody.
All right. Well, we're out of time. I want to thank you so much,
Thank
Joanne,
you
for coming in and talking with us today.